Hey everyone, my name is Tegan and welcome back to TandeWrites, where today we're going to be talking about the real cost of self-publishing. This is a discussion that comes up on book Twitter, publishing Twitter, every couple of months at this point. So while I'm recording this video at a specific time, I'm uploading it months from now, where it is surely going to be relevant again. And the cost of self-publishing becomes very relevant in the traditional publishing versus self-publishing debate, where people think traditional publishing is the better option because you don't have to pay for it, and self-publishing is the bad option because while you do get full creative freedom, it can be very expensive. And I would like to share some of the costs involved in self-publishing my books to try and clear that up a little bit, because they are equally beneficial and flawed in their own ways. Personally, the thing that appeals to me about traditional publishing is that I would say there's a marketing team to promote your book for you, but alas, in the current state of publishing, authors have to do a lot of work themselves. But pros for me in traditional publishing is the distribution, international rights, and usually just someone to do the work for you if that's not something you're experienced or qualified or particularly want to do. Whereas the pros of self-publishing are you can have everything the way you want it, but then you have to pay for things. You have to do a lot of work yourself, and it can get very expensive if you choose that option, and a few other things. Okay, so I have written out a list on my iPad in front of me. We're going to talk about, well, obviously my two published books, which are Beauty and the Breakdown, which came out in 2017, and The Paper Forest, which came out in 2022, and then again in 2023, which comes into my cost breakdown. But yeah, we'll go through, cover, interior, editing, any additional costs, blanket costs, and hopefully this will provide a little bit more insight on my side of self-publishing. And I'll also say that I chose to do a lot of it myself because I had no budget. Was I 16 when I might have been about to turn 16. I was probably 15 when my first book came out. So this is a very low budget, and also I don't put a huge amount of effort into publishing my books, because at this point in my life, with these projects, I wanted the joy of them just sitting on my bookshelf rather than to be, well-known indie bestsellers. Whereas the upcoming projects I'm working on, I will be attempting to query and traditionally publish them. And if that's not in the cards for me, I will inevitably self-publish them, and you'll have a lot more videos to hear from me about that. So here is not even the original copy. I will say a lot of my books have gone through a couple of lives, so I don't always have the original one to hand. I have the most recent one. But here is my first book, Beauty and the Breakdown, which came out in 2017, I think February, so it might have been the week before I turned 16. And this book was made with no budget whatsoever. It was made or published when Amazon KDP was still called CreateSpace, if that provides a timeline of how things are. And the ebook publishing was completely separate to the paperback publishing. And they also had a thing where you could publish DVDs, which is also fun. So first thing, the cover for this book was a pre-made cover sold by Literary Designs, and I probably got the cover in 2016. Back then it was very easy to find, very affordable and also very good quality pre-made book covers, whereas now you can find incredible ones that look like traditionally published books, and obviously the price reflects the quality, whereas back in the day you could get a very simplistic, mostly stock image one that still looks lovely for a pocket change to some people. This cover, I believe, it cost me £50. I don't think it cost me £50. It might have cost me £35. Then for just the cover, they're usually sold as ebook covers, and then you pay extra for the whole wraparound, so the spine and the back cover. As a lot of independently published authors tend to just go the ebook route rather than, the whole shebang, the whole physical hardcover, paperback, ebook, audiobook, everything. So just the front cover, I believe, was probably £35 plus an additional £50 for the full wraparound. So that was £85 total. And then I think I hadn't finished writing or formatting the book at the time I bought the cover. So the spine width had changed by the time it was done. And I think I paid an extra £10 to have for the designer to adjust the spine width for me so it fits all lovely and nice. Then the interior design was all done by myself in Microsoft Word, and because that is just obviously the only resources I had available at the time. And again, the resources available for self-publishing back in 2016 were a lot more limited, and I think was heavily encouraged to pay a designer to do your interior for you. And I thought, I'm going to learn how to do it myself because I'm 15 and incredibly stubborn and have no money. It looks like a real book. It's on the, the classic blinding white self-published paper. Because I think the previews, when I originally published this on CreateSpace, the cream pages looked a lot more brown than what I was expecting, and I obviously did not have the money to buy multiple proof copies. So yeah, here's my interior design done in Microsoft Word. You probably know how difficult it is to move images in Word, so I think I deserve credit just for that. So yeah, interior design was completely free. I probably smashed it out in a weekend. So if it was the kind of thing I was paying for, that's maybe 16 hours work maximum. Minimum wage in the UK is £11.44, so that'll be around £170-180 for a book interior. For a very standard book interior as well. Then there's an ebook that exists for this book. It is again done completely by myself, and it's made in Kindle Create, which is Amazon KDP's free software for creating ebooks, where you literally just upload your Word document and it does it for you. So yeah, in terms of programming for this point, software for this point, completely free. Also, because I had a Microsoft Office subscription, and because I was in school at the time, so we had free Microsoft there. And I understand that Microsoft now is quite expensive. And then the next important thing at this stage, because I didn't pay for editing or anything for this book, because I wrote a book and I thought, great, I need to publish a book while I'm young and successful, so I just went ahead and published it. So at some point in life I will be rewriting this, because I want it to be a duology. That's my original vision. So yeah, there's no editing costs involved. It's literally just cover, interior, ebook, and then proof copies, which through Amazon I think are around £4 per copy, again depending on obviously that it's a paperback. And also this was published before Amazon offered hardcovers, which we will get into shortly. So it was about £4 per copy, and then plus shipping. There is also an alternate cover of this book that exists for the non-Amazon ebooks, which is basically the same font, it's purple. I made that one because I basically copied the design here. It was free to make, and the images are stock images that are free for commercial use, so I can sell those copies and profit of it. Total expenses for this book was £100 maximum. And then, as I said, that book was published before Amazon offered hardcovers, and the only hardcovers they actually do are the case laminate ones, not ones with dust jackets. So I went on a website called Lulu, where you can publish covers with hardcovers with jackets. And the interior I made, it's just the original one resized. The book cover I made, well, the other person made the book cover, I adapted it for a dust jacket form. So this again was free for me to publish, because Lulu you can publish for free. You can also publish for free through Amazon KDP. And then for this one it forces you to pay for proof copies before you can approve them and submit it, whereas Amazon you can just publish without looking at proof copy. So this one is a hardcover, so it might have been more like £8 for this. And then more recently, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago now, but as this book came out so long ago, it feels very recent. Amazon did create the option to have hardcovers with their case laminate ones, so this also exists just for the sake of completion. I could literally just use the original dust jacket and just expand it around the edges a little bit so it can wrap in nicely and not have blank spots. And then I could use the version of the interior that I'd used for this hardcover, as they're the same size. So yeah, again, no expenses involved. I didn't order a proof copy, I just ordered this finished copy. No, I might have ordered a proof copy. I remember making a whole video about Amazon finally releasing hardcovers, so that's something that exists somewhere on this channel, where I probably did buy a proof copy, but these are they're less than £8, I think, I'm pretty sure. Then we're going to be jumping forward a few years to talk about Paper Forest, which the original version came out in June 2022, and then I reworked it a little bit because I ultimately rushed the publishing again. Wasn't happy with it, so I reworked, made a special edition, new and improved author's preferred text version that came out August 2023. So yeah, the 1 year anniversary has passed for that now. And this one had slight more expenses involved for the special edition. The original edition, let's talk about now. So this book has the same 3 versions of the paperback, the Lulu hardcover, and the Amazon hardcover that existed with Beauty and the Breakdown. So we're just going to talk about the paperback for now, because again, I did the interiors and the cover expansions by myself. The cover for Paper Forest, and I'm still so obsessed with the cover, and I kind of regret, I obviously deeply regret not having this cover for everything, but it's a case of I wanted to take the story a new route, a new design. I love this cover, it suits the story so well. It's again a pre-made cover. This was made by Oak Anthony on Etsy, who I believe only posted 2 pre-made cover options and has since retired from this. And I was scrolling, and I saw this, and I was so deeply in love with it. This one I think cost more, around £60. I'll try and go back through my transaction history and put up a screenshot to confirm how much it actually cost. But she didn't have the option to have the wraparound cover, it was just the ebook design. So I kind of made, you can tell it's terrible, it's not very good at all, which is part of the reason I went in other directions for the later books. But this is stunning, and then I did the rest myself. So the only expenses on the cover for this one was that original, maybe £60 ebook cover. The interior for this version is done again by myself. Let's find a good page. Here we are. I got like a theme going on where we had like the blank page at the start of each chapter, and because I just really enjoy it. It gives you like a nice place to rest between reading chapters. This one was again designed in Microsoft Word with my college or my uni subscription. And again, similar to Briefing the Breakdown, I ordered a proof copy, hit submit, called it a day. So yeah, the full extent of costs for that version of Paper Forest was £60. So there's a point to say where it's a lot cheaper to do or self-publishing. First of all, if you have like very basic Photoshop experience, which again at this point I had provided through college and uni and things like that, and eventually I did go on and pay for one of those like £16 a month subscriptions where you get everything, because I use everything at this point in my life. But when you apply for it, you can just put in you're a student and you can put as many years as you want and they don't actually verify it. But yeah, it's a lot easier to do a lot of features if you have very basic Photoshop skills. A lot of this was, or the bits on my end, and then very basic Microsoft Word skills. And I'm pretty sure both of the original Paper Forest and Beauty and the Breakdown interiors were on KDP, or formerly CreateSpace, because I still have the CreateSpace template saved. You can download a pre-formatted template, so of the book interior, so like all the margins and the gutters and the page numbers and everything is all done for you, which makes things so much easier. And it's a great place to start learning how to do it yourself as well. And now we have reached where the bulk of my notes are, and that is Paper Forest's new edition, special edition, whatever referring it to as. Here is my absolutely beat up copy where I've kind of like, I've made it shiny with gel pens, and this is my baby. So, first of all, obvious thing, new cover art. I was scrolling Twitter, and I fell in love with an artist. Here she is. And I scrolled through and I've completely fell in love with her art and her colours and her swirliness. Like, it's beautiful. I see swirly lines, I think Van Gogh, and I think I need that in my life. But this is someone who's very clearly like a high fantasy artist, not author, illustrator. And I thought, I need that in my life. And I originally started off thinking like, I'm just going to commission some character art. I think that would be fun. Like, here are my boys. It's fun. But at the time I commissioned this art, I had already started toying with the idea of making like the special edition, the new edition, because there were a lot of things I wanted to fix, mostly typo-wise in the original, and then there's some things I wanted to add in, because then I was also confident that yes, I'm going to actually write a sequel someday. I'm not just going to, like with Beauty and the Breakdown, tell myself I'm going to write a sequel and never do it. I was committed. So I thought there's a few more things I want to foreshadow, Easter egg in here, to lead into the sequel, but also be a satisfying book as a standalone. So then I committed to that. So the original cover illustration was, I think, £120. It's a case of every artist has their own commission rules, but for this artist, I think one character was X amount. To have an additional character, you pay an extra X amount. Then the more detailed it is, extra things like that, which I think is obviously very fair. It's very fair, pay your artists. I also tip all my artists. And this was lovely because she sent like so many progress sketches and original sketches and ideas, and it's a very collaborative process that even though I had some slight fear that I wasn't in complete control, I still felt very involved, and I love that. And then also, if you want to use the art for commercial use, such as making it a book cover, every artist again has their own rules for it, of the payment. Some artists, you know, will say you pay X amount for the commission and then you pay double for it to be used for commercial use, or they'll include the commercial use fee in the original cost. For this artist, I believe you pay the original commission rate and plus 50% for commercial use. I can't hugely remember now. I could pull up her DMs, but I don't want to in this exact moment in time. So that meant it was probably £180 for the cover art. And then the actual cover design, because just the art was paid for, the cover design was done by myself, because you can tell it's very simplistic. And then I made the wraparound myself by basically just like flipping the cover and using Photoshop content filler tool to remove the characters and have this full wraparound. And again, discussed with the artist, she said I can make whatever changes I want to make it a workable cover. And I did. And I'm very grateful that she allowed me to do that. So yeah, I think I mentioned there Photoshop. So then we have the additional cost of, for me, I believe it's £16.24 per month to have the full Creative Cloud all apps. I use Photoshop, InDesign and Premiere Pro weekly, sometimes daily. So for me, it's a worthwhile expense. I wish, obviously, as everyone was, that there was just a set one-time fee, but everything's a subscription now. And then the interior design was done by myself. Again, it's reminiscent of the original, just the images have been updated to reflect this cover, and then there's new fonts to reflect the cover. But that was done by InDesign, and this is how I taught myself how to use InDesign in preparation for making March and Feather, basically. I was touring around, so I basically made a new version of this book as a learning experience. But I love how it looks. And this one I did intentionally go for the white paper because it made the contrast in the images pop a lot more. And I wish I still had an example, because I think I have a proof copy that has cream pages and it just does not look good. It looks so muddy. So yeah, if you're an indie author, please go for cream paper unless you need images to look sharp. Free cover design, free interior design, free editing, because I self-edited mostly, because I think an editor for the length of this book, which is around 60,000 words, costs between £2,000 and £2,500, which is not an expense I could afford at the time. As previously mentioned, I was publishing these books for the sake of having them on my shelves. But for an upcoming project, if it doesn't go the traditional route or score me an agent, it will be self-published and I will get an editor and try and give this book a good life. The ebook design for this one was again done through the free Kindle Create app. I uploaded my Word document, I made a few changes, and I love when things are free. Also, it's so beginner friendly and intuitive to work with. But rather than publishing this book through KDP or Lulu or Barnes & Noble Press, which are all free to upload, I published this through Ingram Spark, which at the time of publishing there was the £50 upload fee, but I had a code from winning NaNoWriMo. I wrote 25,000 words, but just doubled my word count each day in the form, because you get codes for things if you win. And obviously they can't verify if you win, so NaNoWriMo usually, well, I don't know in recent years, so I hope we're all boycotting, but in the past had codes where you could get a free upload on Ingram Spark. So yeah, that saved me a £50 expense. But also to publish through Ingram Spark, you have to have an ISBN, which is... in my head I know what an ISBN is. It's like the unique number to make your book like a real book. And you have to have them to publish through Ingram Spark. I think through other websites, I know definitely through Amazon KDP, it's optional to have an ISBN. They will provide you a free one, but that means your publisher will be Amazon rather than myself, which is Little Oaks Independent Publishing, named after the house where I made the most of this book. And you can buy, I think, one ISBN for somewhere in the £30 to £40 region, or you can bulk buy 10 for £174, which works out to be £17.40 per ISBN. And that's where the major expense in my publishing is. But I also was confident bulk buying, so I thought, yeah, one ISBN for a physical copy, one for an ebook. So when you have 10, that means, okay, that's only going down to 5 books. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to publish 5 books. If not, I will apply them to friends' books that I work on, and then we can all be a big publishing house together. But that's only a realistic cost because I had a job at the time. It was a part-time job, but I had very limited living expenses as my student loan covered most of my existence, so I could afford that expense. But yeah, ISBNs are optional through most websites. We have the usual cost of the proof copy, which is around £4.50 per copy plus shipping. But then I also have the proof copies. I have so many versions of Paper Forests now. We have like the special edition paperback, which is one that includes the short story and has extra art and like looks pretty on the inside. Somewhere there is like a standard edition, which is like exclusively through Amazon right now, which has no short story, it has less art, it doesn't have anything on the inside of the cover. and I don't know where that is. But that one's also a little bit more affordable. We have just a regular proof copy. We have a dust jacket version. This one is published through Ingram Spark because they let you go all out, well, in a sense, on hardcovers. So that's fun and beautiful. So yeah, I got proof copies of this. And then we have, published through Amazon KDP, we have a large print edition, making the most of their case laminate format. So yeah, it's like the exact same, but large print. And then yeah, I had to pay for proof copies for all of those. I think at some point in the publishing process I did a giveaway through Storygraph, where to buy a credit for a giveaway. I want to say it was in the £30 to £40 region. I bought it during like their beta region, when I imagine it's cheaper. I don't know how it's changed now. That much money for a giveaway, and then for giveaway prizes, I think there are 3 physical copies, so again you have to pay for the book copy and the shipping. I uploaded my information to Nielsen Book Data, which is a free thing to do, to make your book record like official everywhere. Then if you do that, the British Library gets in contact with you, so you can submit your copies to their archives, which is fun, makes you feel like a real official author. But then you have to pay to send, is it 5 or 6 copies? One copy goes to one address and the other 5 go to the other address. So then you got to pay out of pocket for another 6 copies of your book plus shipping to go to the archives. And I think a lot of this you can do the maths for. I'm just making a list of the expenses you might not think about. One of the big things for me to make this book feel like a real book was to get reviews from like reputable indie, independent publishing, self-publishing sources, just like so on my cover. And okay, the quote on this cover has since changed. I just don't have a new copy of my own book. And then there's a different one on here. But why don't I have a new version of Paper Forest? This one has like quotes all down the back now. But to get quotes you have to, well, you can submit for review, or you can submit to competitions where you get a review as a bonus. That costs somewhere between £40 to £100 per competition or per review, so that can get very expensive if that's the route you want to go to. Obviously, I don't recommend it for everyone. I think I mentioned it more in my Indie Wrapped for last year or the year before about these competitions, but I only recommend entering if it's one where you get a guaranteed review out of it. And then the final expense for this book was the audiobook, which I think by the time I'm uploading it, I probably already posted my audiobook video, where it costs, for me, it costs between £50 and £100 per hour of recorded material. My book was just over 5 hours long, because I chose to go through an actual narrator rather than doing some kind of like self-produced route. So if you are going to splurge on something, well, first of all, splurge on your cover, your editing, and audiobook if you choose to go audiobook. I went for audiobook because my next book has a blind character and I wanted to dabble in all of the accessible reading options now, so when that book gets released, it can be all I know what I'm doing then. And I think that is all the expenses involved in those 2 books with 3 editions. My upcoming book, if it doesn't go for the traditionally published route, will have a cover that is illustrated by me. I think I had to pay £18 for the license to use the font. The interior will be self-done. I will be paying for editing, and I'll be paying for like some reviews and an audiobook. So again, maybe a very expensive book. Maybe not. And I will say that I put very little effort into marketing this book, because I think I could spend, say if I spent £500 on publishing, I could easily spend double that on marketing. And that's not an expense I can afford to have, which is why I don't market my books very well. Unless you're like very good at social media, which a lot of people are. I'm not, because I'm just very stubborn to learn. But yeah, marketing can be a very expensive expense, obviously. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it offered a little bit more insight on the cost of self-publishing, potential costs, and if you want to go through like the very low budget route like I did for the sake of just having your book on your own bookshelf, that's how you do it. And a final comment, for some people it's worth going through the Ingram Spark route because you get expanded distribution, you can see your book in bookstores. But the thing, and also if you publish through KDP, you can tick a little box to do expanded distribution rather than publishing exclusively for Amazon. But if you choose expanded distribution option, then the companies take a bigger cut of your profits. You go from making, say if you just publish on Amazon KDP, you can make a couple of pounds of profit, but if you choose expanded distribution and sell your book for the same amount, you'll make pennies. That's a whole other thing I can talk about. In my opinion, the cost of self-publishing might not be that expensive, but the profits of self-publishing, again, very little. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.